Sami Zayn is currently not on your television box, and we all presume this is because of the current global pandemic situation thing, and that he just decided he didn't want to go. In turn, WWE stripped him of the Intercontinental Championship, and we got a tournament, and given that Sami Zayn has carried on his character tirade against this outrage, you're going to have to presume that when he does make his return, he will feud with the current Intercontinental Champion. This just makes sense. Throughout the years, though, there has always been this speculations or murmurings and rumours and whispers that Sami Zayn may not have the best relationship with WWE management, which is why sometimes his pushes just stop from nowhere. I mean, on Ups and Downs, if you do watch Ups and Downs, thanks very much for watching, we even had a Sami tally, and we had a Sami tally because every time he was involved in a match, if somebody had to be pinned or somebody had to be submitted, it was quite literally always Sami Zayn. So we used to pull down a tally, and it got up to like 4,622, which is why it's quite incredible he did win the Intercontinental Championship. I never saw it coming. Well, this week we found out even more, and I genuinely think it's fascinating. Coming from the words of Arn Anderson during his podcast with Conrad Thompson, and then backed up in the Wrestling Observer, Arn was simply asked, what do you think about Sami Zayn and his potential to maybe be a WWE producer in the future? And Arn basically went, nope. And then he said this: Sami is a little too headstrong. We're away. Sami believes in himself, but he also believes in his ideas. Maybe it's because I clashed with Sami. Sami and I clashed quite a few times over what he perceived to be small things, but I always believe the small things are the big things. So Arn Anderson talking in riddles there. When you have to help a kid who is fresh from NXT or from somewhere else that comes onto the roster, and you are faced with X number of minutes in this position on Raw or SmackDown, as the agent, it is your responsibility to make sure that the match is good and it reflects all rules put in place by the boss, known or not known. You have to be involved in every little aspect of things that in the storytelling process makes sense. In the course of that, you make it to the gorilla position and your 6 minutes just went to 3 minutes. And are you qualified to tell the talent you just lost 3 minutes? Like you're losing your life and you're about to die. Here is what you have to take out. There is a lot more than just looking at a guy and saying thumbs up or thumbs down. 6 minutes. That's the way it used to be when I wrestled. Thumbs up, thumbs down. And how long you have, there's a lot more involved now. I just don't think Sami is going to be patient enough or creative enough to be able to come up with a story that is completely different from the one you've been talking about all day. Sheesh. Now, if you have heard Sami on other podcasts, you will know he just seems to have this boundless energy that never stops. I remember when he was on Talk is Jericho with Kevin Owens, and he was kind of described as a really excitable child that was difficult sometimes to get through to. So he was like a dog with a bone. Once he's got it in his teeth, he's not going to let it go, and if you try and rip the bone from said teeth, he's going to bite down on it harder, because that's just on his nature. And I think that's what Arn Anderson was getting at here. Maybe he's not the most fluid dude in the world. He sees something and that's the way he's gonna go. In many ways, this rocks, because one of the major criticisms that does get hurled at WWE over and over again, has to dodge like that and get out of the way, is that they don't let their wrestlers paint their own canvases. And when you don't do that, a lot of the wrestling matches and a lot of the wrestling talent that we see get a little rinse, wash, repeat, and they all kind of feel the same. But having the WWE playbook is all well and good. Sometimes maybe I want to read from a different playbook that just so happens to be over there. And it's hard to argue against that because it is an issue, but maybe this does explain all the nuts and madness that's been happening with Sami Zayn over the years. He just won't let stuff go. He doesn't mind speaking up. He is his own dude, right down to saying no to Arn Anderson, who I'm sure he respects, because who in the hell doesn't respect Arn Anderson? I mean, Sid Justice properly, but that's a different story for a different day. But if Arn Anderson said to me, Simon, you've got to go out there and do a bunch of backflips, I'd be like, Arn, I will do whatever you're asking of me. And trust me, I can't do a backflip. I'll fall on my bald head and it will smash open like an egg. And I look like an egg. I find it so intriguing though, even more so when of course we go back to this idea that Sami decided to stay away from the television tapings because of everything that's going on in the world at the moment. because you just start thinking, well, is this going to be held against him, or has it already been held against him, hence why he's no longer the Intercontinental Champion? I mean, should he have lost it? Was it the right thing to do? It's a conversation to be had, and we're not going to really know for sure until Zayn is brought back to either Raw or SmackDown. I can't even remember if he's a Raw or SmackDown guy. Yes, I can, he's on SmackDown, but right now, who even knows if the brand split is long for this world? WWE has hit the panic button. Because if he did clash with Arn, and clearly he did, because I don't think Anderson, the former Four Horsemen person, is someone that's going to make that up, then you'd have to imagine that message gets back to the higher-ups, and they go, you know what we were going to do with Sami Zayn? Kill it! Finish it, I don't want to do it anymore. Because as we know, if you are backstage in WWE, it can be a political minefield and you've got to know where to tread. I mean, there's other examples of this too. Baron Corbin lost his Money in the Bank briefcase because he said something about concussions that WWE didn't like. Ken Kennedy, you remember that? Mr. Kennedy! I mean, he fell foul of all of this, and he just basically wound up in a WWE toilet by the end of it. Alberto Del Rio was handed the moon on the platter, but obviously that got taken away given backstage attitude problems. And given what we know now, WWE was probably right to do that. Rusev and Lana, they got smacked down with some kind of metaphysical belt when they announced on social media that they were getting married for real, even though in storyline they had fallen out and they were meant to despise each other, and that ended that one dead. Paul London laughed at a soon-to-be-killed in storyline Vince McMahon, and he was never given another opportunity. Triple H in 1996 was involved in the curtain call, and he was meant to win the King of the Ring that year, but because nobody could punish Shawn Michaels, Kevin Nash or Scott Hall, that was taken away from him, and this was flipping Triple H. And then there's William Regal, Jack Swagger, Rob Van Dam, all dudes that had major things on a wrestling plate that was smashed into 1,000 pieces after they failed the wellness policy, and someone like Alex Riley apparently got eaten alive by John Cena, and I'm sure on the occasion it's actually down to the wrestler and them not knowing what they're doing, but it still happens. You've got to be smart. And clearly it wasn't too bad currently because, like I say, somebody did give him a championship belt, and you're not going to do that if you really hate someone, but I don't necessarily think he's going to be in the same position when eventually he does come back. I mean, we're going to find out. I mean, if anything does happen in the future that makes you go, wait a minute, what? It could just be that Mr. Zayn once more said the wrong thing to the wrong person, or said the right thing, but to the wrong person. And that's the other thing you got to remember. You may actually be 100% correct, but if the person who has more power than you disagrees, they will take you and crush your bones, because in this scenario, the person you're talking to is the Batman villain known as Bane. And by the sounds of things, that's what happened to Christopher DeJoseph, who used to, until like a couple of weeks ago, wrote SmackDown. He was the head writer on Friday nights. I don't mean that Bane got him, but I mean, again, this is all rumors and speculation, but it is interesting. He apparently said the wrong thing on a Zoom call. Vince McMahon heard this, I'm doing the Vince McMahon ear thing again, and he was like, that's enough, you're fired. And he fired Paul Heyman. Who can keep up with this? So don't you tell me that any of Sami Zayn's pushes aren't directly to do with all of this stuff I just said. I bet my ass, that's right, my ass is on the line, that they 100% are. And now we know more about this thanks to the one and only Arn Anderson. Throw him up. How disrespectful is that? I'd never be in the Four Horsemen. I should be ashamed. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you think about all of this. Do you believe that Sami Zayn got punished by deciding not to come to television? That's why he lost his Intercontinental title. And do you think he's going to get it back or even be in a feud when he does return? I want to know. This is important. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to What Culture Wrestling. There's so much to do. Then head over to What Culture WWE on Twitter and follow him. It's important. Read articles on whatculture.com and watch more videos here on What Culture Wrestling. My name is Simon for What Culture, and this kind of explains, do you remember when Sami Zayn came back? He fell when he was so excited after WrestleMania, whenever the hell it was, and he had that kind of like social gimmick. That's not the right word, but he was all like, oh, you fans, you boo and you moan all the time. It doesn't matter if we give you what you want, you still hate it, and you can't win. And then that just stopped. What if Sami Zayn had a vision for this character and he was just pushing too hard behind the scenes, so everybody pushed back? And there's about 42 of them, just like Vince and his right-hand men, and there's only one Sami Zayn, which would totally explain why it stopped, and it explains why other things stopped too. How many times have you bought into a story, or a gimmick, or a narrative, or anything, and then the next week it's dead, and you ring the police like, look, I want to report a missing person. They're like, it's wrestling, we don't care about this. It happens all the time, and I think it stems from this. Now you'll be going, Simon, you seem to have taken an Arn Anderson quote and ran with it, but that's because I think it serves as important evidence. Take it away, Judge. I'll see you soon. Also, I just want to say, as we've got to the end, and it's important to underline these things, I am a big fan of Sami Zayn. I think he's very entertaining, and I think WWE could do more with him. I don't have to worry about all the craziness that's going on behind the scenes. I just have to worry about what do I enjoy when I sit my ass there on that sofa, and I'm happy to say I enjoy Sami Zayn. Remember when they said we were never going to get Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens again, and we got it? I think that sums it up.